I was pushed into the drainage ditch, listening to the fireworks. The fragments of my wedding ring were still in my palm. How ironic. He chose our Willow Manor for his wedding. These fireworks were his death knell. I left clues to catch Kyle, but I didn't leave him an ounce of forgiveness. My husband was the ace of the special forces, yet, knowing he'd recently received death threats, he forgot to properly close the door. I was firmly held captive by Kyle. He bound me tightly to a chair with special nylon rope, taped my mouth shut with special adhesive tape, and then placed his backpack in front of me. A hammer, a wrench, scissors. Pick one. His face was filled with sadistic pleasure, his gaze drifting from my face downwards. When he saw my bulging belly, he suddenly froze. "You're pregnant." I nodded. The baby was 5 months along, a child I had longed for. Hey. Kyle revealed a cruel, chilling smile. "This makes it even more fun." He was going to torture my child. The thought sent shivers down my spine. Suddenly, my phone rang. I thought it was my husband, but it was a friend request from Tiffany. "Let me show you this." Kyle held the phone up to my face and tapped accept. "Grace, don't misunderstand what happened today." Tiffany's message popped up. "I have a terminal illness. The doctors say I only have 3 months left before I die. I want to fulfill my last wish. That's why I asked Ethan to come with me to see the fireworks. Please don't be angry, we're childhood sweethearts. He understands me better than any man." Immediately after, a video was sent. In the video, Tiffany and my husband were nestled together as the fireworks exploded. She snuggled into his jacket, raising her phone to take a selfie. My husband allowed her to hide in his embrace, gently pushing away the strands of hair wind had tangled. I watched, my body trembling. My heart ached in throbbing spasms. Had enough. Kyle turned off the phone and threw it at my feet. He casually picked up a pair of scissors and lunged them sharply towards my left eyeball. I instinctively squeezed my eyes shut, and cold sweat immediately drenched my pajamas, but the anticipated pain never came. I tentatively lifted my eyelids. Kyle made a few menacing gestures with the scissors near my eyeball, then tossed them back into the tool bag. "I'll save this for later. Otherwise, it won't be as much fun." He bent down, picking through the blood-stained tools. "So, you're afraid to die, are you? Interesting." While he wasn't paying attention, I forced myself to calm down. I subtly scanned the bedroom, trying to find a way to escape. With my capabilities, escaping alone in this situation was virtually impossible. Trying to run when death is at your doorstep? Kyle, furious, raised his hand and slapped me. "What? Don't you think I'm being cruel enough?" He had seen through my thoughts once again. While working on cases, I had discovered that Kyle possessed extensive counter-surveillance skills, a meticulous mind, and ruthless methods. "No one who fell into his hands ever escaped, Mamf. I immediately shook my head, trying to appease Kyle by feigning weakness and begging for mercy. "Actually, I'm not afraid of you running." His lips curled into a smile, his eyes manic. "I've already hidden some goodies throughout this building, if you dare expose me. I don't mind all your innocent neighbors dying with you. Oh, and by the way, if the gas pipeline explodes, I wonder if the entire community will be wiped out. I'm really looking forward to it." I couldn't make a sound, so I furiously shook the chair, creating noise to express my rage. I never imagined he would be this insane. "All right, guess what I'm going to do to you next." Kyle looked at my feet. "You know, I really like to start by dismembering the feet, of course." I knew. Of the 9 victims who died at his hands, 7 had their toes snipped off one by one, then their ankles, then their calves. My colleagues told me this method maximized the victims' suffering without allowing them to die from the pain too quickly. Sure enough, Kyle took out a pair of scissors. This time, he didn't hesitate. He snipped my little toe with a snip. The instantaneous, intense pain made me writhe in the chair. My mind went blank. The pain was so intense I felt I might pass out. Suddenly, my phone rang loudly. Kyle, who had been contemplating a second cut, flinched sharply and warily looked at the screen. It was Ethan calling. "Don't say anything stupid." He ripped the tape from my mouth. "If you dare say anything else, everyone in this building will die with you first." I nodded, gritting my teeth against the pain as I answered the call. With so many lives at stake, I couldn't take the risk. "Immediately take all the baby supplies you ordered 2 days ago and give them to Tiffany." My husband's voice came through. "She has leukemia. It's incurable. Before she goes, I want to help her fulfill her wish of becoming a mother." Just as I was about to speak, the excruciating pain made me sob aloud. "Grace, are you really that petty?" My husband sounded furious. You can't even spare a set of baby supplies, and you're crying about it. Kyle took the phone away and covered the mouthpiece. Find a reason to make him come back, he instructed. My eyes widened, and I instinctively defended him. He won't come back. He only cares about Tiffany. Tell you what, he sneered, as long as he comes back and opens the front door. I'll let you live, or you can die right now. I looked down at my slightly bulging belly. For my baby, I couldn't give up, not even if there was just a glimmer of hope. Husband. I tried to keep my voice calm. My stomach hurts terribly. Can you please come back? Come back and take me to the hospital. It really hurts. Please, on the other end of the line. I heard hurried breathing. Grace, I'm warning you. Don't go too far. I just told you Tiffany is sick, and you're faking illness? If you want to compete with her, you should know your place. I never expected my husband to think I was faking it. Dazed and distraught, I was on the verge of collapsing. Kyle extended his foot and pressed the tip of his shoe into the wound where my toe had been severed. I screamed in despair, Grace. Perhaps my scream was too agonizing, as Ethan finally wavered. I'm warning you, you better truly be unwell. Don't let me find out you're using the baby to gain attention. I'll be right back after I take care of Tiffany. The call ended, and Kyle burst into laughter. He rummaged through his backpack, pulling out a sewing kit and placing it on my lap. Shall we play a game? He pointed at the clock. Starting now, for every 10 minutes your husband is late coming back, I'll stick a needle into your body. You'd better pray he comes home immediately. Powerless to resist, I could only agree. 10 minutes are up. Kyle picked up a needle and jabbed it into my forearm, brutally pushing it all the way in. The first, the second, the third. Countless needles rolled beneath my skin, the tips piercing agonizingly, making even breathing painful. It was a prolonged torture. It lasted so long that dawn was breaking. Just as I thought my husband would never return, I heard his footsteps echoing in the hallway. He was home. My baby and I were saved. The elation of a narrow escape surged through me, and I waited eagerly for my husband to open the front door. Given his physical prowess, even if Kyle went back on his word and didn't release me, he could easily overpower him. Hello? Tiffany, what's wrong? My husband, just about to open the door, answered his phone and stopped at the threshold. Ethan, I'm having another nosebleed. Just beyond the door, I could clearly hear Tiffany's voice. Can you please come to my place right away? I'm so scared. She sounded utterly heartbroken. No one's here to take care of me. I'm so afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm here, my husband gently reassured her. I'll be right over to take you to the hospital. As his footsteps faded further away, I felt struck by lightning, desperately crying out for help. Ethan, don't leave. I'm begging you. Please, open the front door and take me to the hospital. Right now, there was only a door between us. He only needed to open the door to save my baby and me. Didn't you hear Tiffany's nosebleed? My husband lost his patience. She has leukemia. A nosebleed could kill her. You just have a stomachache. Don't you have hands and legs to go to the hospital yourself? What kind of princess act is this? No. Please, save me. I heard the elevator arrive, and I pleaded desperately, Ethan, don't leave. The elevator doors opened, and Ethan left without a word. I stared blankly at the front door, imagining my husband would suddenly turn back and rescue me. I don't know how much time passed, but my phone rang again. It was Tiffany's social media post. She posted several pictures with the caption, "My childhood sweetheart is the best." He got several speeding tickets just to take me to the hospital. So afraid I'd suffer even the slightest inconvenience, my husband drove her to the hospital, running several red lights on the way. In my opinion, what's the point of a marriage certificate? True love is when you're treated like I am. Ethan is so good to me. Tiffany lay in the hospital room, receiving an IV drip, and my husband stayed by her side, his eyes filled with concern and worry. The baby supplies I bought were already set up in the hospital room. She didn't have a baby, so she put her pet kitten in the baby crib and made the kitten call Ethan daddy. My husband played along, cradling the cat in his arms and lulling it to sleep. I scoffed, let it be. I was tired. Go ahead. Kyle, feeling hungry, cleared out all the fruit from the refrigerator. What? Not waiting anymore? I shook my head. Ethan simply didn't care if I lived or died. It was already a death sentence. I might as well get it over with quickly. What a pity. The more you wish to die, the less I want to let you. He sneered. If I don't torment you enough, what kind of murderer would I be? Kyle dragged me out of the community. His counter-surveillance skills were formidable. No one noticed anything unusual along the way. After blindfolding me, he threw me into a car that reeked of blood. When I opened my eyes again, I was shocked to find myself at the Willow Manor where Ethan and I had held our wedding. At that moment, the large lawn was already decorated with balloons and flowers. Clearly, someone was holding a wedding there. Put this on. Kyle tossed me a dress that perfectly covered my wounds. This game is called Choice of Two. If your husband can find the bombs on your body, you win. How about that? Am I fair? 3 of Kyle's homemade bombs had been sewn into my body to make me play along. He had also planted bombs throughout the entire Willow Manor. If I exposed him, he would press the button without hesitation. My leg had already been broken by him. I could only endure the pain and pretend to walk normally towards Ethan. What are you doing here? Ethan, who was exchanging rings with Tiffany, dressed in her wedding gown, looked utterly disgusted. We're just making up for Tiffany's wedding, fulfilling her dream of wearing a wedding dress. Do you really need to come here and show off? I forced a bitter smile. Even breathing hurt. My husband was an expert bomb disposal technician, having repeatedly ranked first in competitions, yet he couldn't hear the distinct beeping of the bombs on me. His full attention was on Tiffany, who was crying aggrievedly. The young woman pouted and wiped away tears. Since doesn't like it, I won't wear it. Ignore her. Just wear what I told you to. My husband comforted her. His good friends looked at me with even greater disdain. It's just a ceremony. Is it fun to disrupt it? Tiffany is almost dying, and she's still fighting over a wedding dress. If hadn't gone abroad back then, would Grace even have had a chance to marry him? Anyway, I get annoyed just seeing her. Tiffany is just a kind. Tiffany is more deserving of marrying Ethan than she is. This woman is quite cunning. She got pregnant immediately after Tiffany returned. How devious, yes. I still had my baby inside me. But in the end, I couldn't protect her. I've made myself very clear. Don't you understand? My husband, enraged to the point of laughter, violently shoved me away. Get lost. I fell to the ground, in unbearable pain. My husband took Tiffany's hand and continued the wedding ceremony amidst the cheers of the crowd. I limped out of Willow Manor. Boring. Kyle sneered. I thought I'd see you lose your mind and make everyone die with you. What a shame. I have my limits. So many innocent people and families. I couldn't save them, and I wouldn't gamble with their lives, all right. I've had enough fun too. He pushed my tottering body into the drainage ditch. Boom. Amidst the sound of fireworks, Ethan embraced Tiffany. The next day, as he was preparing to go on his honeymoon with her, he received a message. Kyle has reappeared. This time, his methods were extremely brutal. The victim was blown to pieces. Reading the message, Ethan frowned deeply, and a vague sense of unease spread through him. What's wrong? Tiffany clung to him, embracing him from behind. Quick, help me see which of these 2 dresses is more flattering. Sorry. Ethan pushed her away. Something urgent came up. I can't take you on our honeymoon today. You should rest well at home. Is it because of Grace? A flicker of jealousy crossed Tiffany's eyes. I know she never liked me. If she doesn't want me to go, then I won't. All right, call me if you need anything. Ethan placed a kiss on her forehead and left in a hurry, her plans thwarted. Tiffany's eyes widened, filling with tears, and she grabbed a decorative item from the coffee table, smashing it violently. He ignored me just for her. Unable to accept reality, she picked up her phone and sent a message to an unknown number. The atmosphere in the office was exceptionally heavy. Ethan gasped, seeing the state of the body. The deceased is a female, the coroner said. Amongst victims, hers is the most gruesome death. Look, this is what we removed from her body. She held up a metal tray containing tiny iron fragments, glinting in the sunlight. What are these? Ethan's face grew paler. Preliminary analysis suggests they are fragments of sewing needles after being detonated, the coroner sighed, before her death. At least 30 needles had been embedded in her body, some already circulating throughout her system with her blood vessels. Her body is completely mutilated, but we were still able to identify traces of her toes having been cut off, confirming that Kyle severed them with scissors. I can't imagine how desperate she must have been before she died. Ethan clenched his fists, veins bulging on his forehead. Damn it, we had him cornered, and he still dared to stir up trouble. Silence fell over the room once more. By the way, I can't reach Grace. The coroner looked puzzled. Her phone is never off, but I can't get through to her at all. Ethan froze. Are you saying she's not answering her phone? His colleague nodded. He gritted his teeth and cursed. At a time like this, she's still sulking with me. daring to be negligent at work. If her actions delay the investigation and allow Kyle to continue his crimes, what right does she have to be a criminal expert? Grace isn't like that. A close colleague stepped forward to defend me. She's never been this uncharacteristic. I'm really worried something might have happened to her. You know Kyle hates Grace the most. Now that he's back committing crimes, it's not impossible he targeted her. The thought of my unusual behavior yesterday made Ethan's face turn ashen. He vigorously shook his head, trying to dismiss the terrible thought. Of course not. I saw her yesterday. She was perfectly fine. I think she's just trying to pick a fight with me. The phone suddenly rang. Ethan's body jerked, but upon seeing it was Tiffany, he let his guard down and smiled gently. Ethan, I want to show you the wedding photos, she said. Grace seemed very unhappy at the wedding yesterday. I'm so afraid she misunderstood. It's all my fault for messing it up. Looking at the photos, Ethan immediately saved them. Don't worry about it. Grace was being unreasonable and made you feel bad. I'll come see you as soon as I'm done here. Getting the desired reply, Tiffany let out a bell-like laugh. A colleague, who had been examining my body nearby, suddenly froze. What is this? Under the sunlight, something in my palm glinted. The coroner used tweezers to extract a diamond stuck in the bone. My wedding ring had been blown apart, and the part with the diamond was lodged precisely in my palm. It's a diamond ring. His colleague recognized it. It looks like a basic design, but I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It's so familiar. I never took this wedding ring off. They had seen it countless times. Could it be from an advertisement? No way. The female colleague insisted. I'm sure I've seen it on someone's hand more than once, but I just can't remember who. Ethan, who had just finished his call, noticed the diamond fragment. He caught his breath, suddenly realizing he also recognized this diamond ring. This implied that the deceased was likely someone everyone knew. An unprecedented sense of dread made his heart pound. Are the DNA comparison results not out yet? He asked urgently. Unfortunately, the system database is being upgraded today, the coroner replied. It's expected to finish upgrading by tonight, and then we can start the comparison. Never mind. Let's conduct an on-site investigation first, Ethan said. Where was the body last seen? Is it confirmed as the primary crime scene? In the drainage ditch outside Willow Manor, the coroner replied. The time of death was between AM and PM yesterday. An elderly scavenger found the body and reported it. Impossible. Ethan couldn't believe it. Yesterday, I was at Willow Manor with Tiffany. He suddenly didn't know how to explain himself. If outsiders found out he was holding a wedding with Tiffany without a marriage certificate, they would definitely misunderstand his relationship with her. He didn't want her to be misunderstood. I was handling private matters with my friend Tiffany, he said. It was exactly between AM and PM. It was in the vicinity at that time. How could I not have noticed? Everyone hesitated, on the verge of speaking. They never doubted Ethan's abilities. His words led the investigation to a dead end. Without, our understanding of Kyle is completely insufficient. A colleague sighed, distributing the prepared documents. Thankfully, she kept backups. Ethan took the documents. The female colleague, seeing the wedding ring on his hand, was shaken. She rushed over, grabbing his finger and lifting it high. Look. She was almost in tears. Isn't this ring exactly like the one found in the body? Don't be ridiculous. Ethan abruptly shook her off. He meticulously examined the ring on his finger, and an intense wave of terror made his mind go blank. The coroner snatched the ring and placed it next to the other for comparison. The wear and tear match. The brand is the same. The style is identical. He gasped for breath, staring blankly at me. Lying on the table. Impossible. Impossible. I remember now, the female colleague said, her face drained of color. The ring, I saw it on Grace's hand. An eerie silence fell over the office. With the evidence before them, everyone inevitably realized that the exploded body belonged to me. There must be a misunderstanding. Maybe it's one of Grace's pranks. Ethan's eyes widened, bloodshot. He pulled out his phone and repeatedly called me, but always received the automated message. Sorry. The mobile phone you dialed is powered off. Grace, have you had enough of this charade? He sent me a voice message. Show yourself now while I still have patience, or I'll divorce you. Ever since Tiffany returned, Ethan had taken to threatening me with divorce. If I didn't go along with his wishes, he would just throw divorce papers at me and leave. The more it happened, the more anxious I became. But now I was dead. Even if he laid divorce papers in front of me, my heart would no longer ache from it. Ethan, calm down. A colleague, her eyes red from crying, said, What if it really is Grace? We must catch Kyle and avenge her. You've all been deceived by her, Ethan sneered. You're saying she's dead based on one ring? She's clearly just playing a little trick to get attention. How can you say that about Grace? His colleagues were astonished, rushing to defend me. We all saw how dedicated and responsible she was. She even worked overtime while pregnant to catch Kyle. She would never joke about a victim. Stop arguing, everyone. The coroner sighed. Of course, we all hope it's not Grace. Let's get back to work and wait for the DNA results. Ethan sat at his desk, distracted. He didn't believe I was dead and kept calling me repeatedly. My phone had already been smashed and discarded by Kyle, so it was impossible for me to respond to him. That evening, he didn't choose to see Tiffany. Instead, he drove home. Grace, if I find you at home, you're dead today. His eyes red-rimmed, he muttered threats to himself. Mid-route, a colleague's call came in. The DNA results are in. The victim's DNA matches Grace's with 100% certainty. We can confirm. Grace has passed away. Is it fun to lie to me? My husband didn't believe it at all. I told you. I saw her yesterday. She was perfectly fine. Lively and healthy. How could she just suddenly die? It's one thing for her to joke around, but are you all joining her in this nonsense? Returning to the community parking garage, the signal was intermittent. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm going home now. If I see a living, breathing Grace, I'd like to see how you explain yourselves. He took the elevator up. Reaching the front door, he noticed the bloodstains left when Kyle dragged me. Ethan's breathing hitched. He tremblingly opened the front door, and what he saw made him disbelieve his own eyes. The once cozy home was covered in bloodstains. The ropes and chair that bound me lay overturned in the living room. The house was in complete disarray. He slowly walked into the bedroom and turned on the light. On the floor, he found my severed little toe. Grace. He broke down. Don't scare me. Please come out. I don't want to see your terrible prank. Come out now. He couldn't fool himself. The dried blood and heavy scent of gore in the room, everything spoke of the torture I had endured. Ah, the female colleague who had followed out of concern, screamed when she saw the horrific scene in the room. She stumbled into the bedroom, grabbed Ethan by the collar, and slapped him without hesitation. It's all because of you, she murmured dazedly. If you hadn't been messing around with Tiffany, Grace would never have died. Tiffany? Ethan came to his senses and instinctively defended her. She's innocent. This has nothing to do with her. He was pulled back to the precinct. On the table were 2 cold takeout containers. Tiffany had specially brought them. Worried he might be hungry, chasing after a married man to deliver food. Even a dog could see through her intentions. The female colleague said furiously, then left. The coroner handed my husband a report. Legally speaking, you are her husband, he said. This is the body identification report. Please sign it. Only at this moment did Ethan truly realize I was dead. His face ashen, he tremblingly wrote his name. Grace. Why did she fall into Kyle's hands? He was both crying and laughing. I protected her so well. She had an unborn baby. She was so afraid of pain. How could she have endured such torture? I'm going to catch Kyle and tear him to shreds. The coroner shook his head and sighed. Soon after, while searching the room, they discovered the clues I had left. I had created the coded messages, risking my life, when Kyle wasn't paying attention. I was a criminal expert. Apprehending criminals was my duty. I wouldn't survive in Kyle's hands. Similarly, he wouldn't escape if he fell into mine. Based on the clues I provided, Kyle was apprehended 3 days later. After 2 interrogations, he specifically asked to see Ethan. I solved a big problem for you. And you don't even say thank you when you walk in? Kyle sneered, looking very smug. Don't spout nonsense. Ethan's eyes were red at the corners, and he gritted his teeth. I wish you'd just die right now. I'm not spouting nonsense, Kyle said nonchalantly. If you hadn't been so eager to see Tiffany, I wouldn't have been able to get into your house. Not even in a year. You deliberately left the door open, didn't you? You wanted to let me in. What? My husband then remembered that he hadn't closed the door the night he went to see fireworks with Tiffany. I gave you many chances to save her, Kyle said. When you asked her for the baby supplies, that's when I cut off her toe. She was crying from the pain. But you couldn't hear it. I told her that if you came home and opened the door, I would let her go. She was willing to do anything for your baby, but you clearly made it to the door, only to be called away by another woman. How hilarious. She begged you to come in. And you didn't care. I genuinely wonder if you wanted Grace dead more than I did. Ethan's face was chalk white. He remembered every single incident. There had been so many opportunities to save her. yet he had missed every single one because he was preoccupied with Tiffany. Oh, and by the way, I played many interesting little games with her. Kyle smiled, seeing Ethan's devastated expression. When she couldn't wait for you, I started sticking needles into her, a full 30 needles, and on the day you had your wedding with Tiffany, I sewed 3 small objects into her body, waiting for you to find them. No. Ethan covered his head, losing control as he repeatedly slammed his head against the table. What you're saying isn't true. It's not. As a bomb disposal expert, he didn't even detect the homemade bombs. He only needed to take one step closer to me to notice something was wrong, but his entire heart was fixed on Tiffany. He found my mere presence annoying. Hey. Grace was more resilient than I imagined. His eyes were cold. I thought she would choose to abandon others to save her own life, but she went to her death without a word. Taking my life hadn't brought him the pleasure he expected. I admit I'm Grace's killer. He stared at Ethan, and so are you. I killed her. Ethan felt struck by lightning. He finally realized that he had abandoned me time and again, squandering all my hopes of survival. The subscriber of the number that contacted the suspect has been found. A colleague burst through the door, shouting. She looked at Ethan. Ethan, you might know this person. With the aid of modern technology, finding the number's owner wasn't difficult. Among the women Kyle contacted, only the owner of this number proposed to cooperate with him. Tiffany. The female colleague pronounced the name syllable by syllable. Ethan, who had just arrived, suddenly felt dizzy. Is there a misunderstanding? He couldn't believe reality. Tiffany is so timid. How could she possibly contact a murderer? Moreover, she knew he was pursuing Kyle. If she had information about him, why didn't she tell him? If it weren't for her, Kyle would never have had the chance to infiltrate the community. The female colleague cried in frustration. She gave Kyle all the information about your home, telling him to go and get revenge on Grace. So this is the little childhood sweetheart, Tiffany, you've doted on your entire life. I think she's the real devil. Ethan collapsed to the ground. He couldn't believe reality at all. The woman he trusted implicitly had killed his wife and unborn child. Even knowing Kyle would seek brutal revenge on me, she still disclosed all my private information without reservation. Tiffany was brought in for questioning. She who had pretended ignorance and innocence all along, caved the moment she saw the evidence. How could this be? Sweat beaded on her forehead as she mumbled, "Didn't Kyle say he would escape? I trusted you so much." Ethan slammed his hand on the table and lunged forward. Why didn't you report Kyle, knowing he was a murderer? But I wanted to use him to kill Grace, Tiffany said righteously. He's a murderer, yes, but he wasn't going to kill me, so what did it matter to me? And I hated Grace anyway, so what's wrong with helping him get revenge on her? With dead, I can legitimately marry you. She smiled radiantly. Ethan, shall we go get our marriage certificate tomorrow? Dream on. The female colleague couldn't stand it and cursed, pointing a finger at her. You're Kyle's accomplice. He's getting the death penalty, and you'll be sentenced to at least 30 years. Tiffany's eyes widened. I'll sue you for breaking the law. I was just talking to him. How can you try to send me to prison? Ethan let out a self-deprecating laugh. This was the woman he had sought to protect. Utterly devoid of empathy, colluding with a murderer, and not even realizing where she went wrong, he had, for her sake, caused the death of his wife and unborn child. Ethan stood up and dragged Tiffany to the research lab. He forced her down, making her kneel before my scattered remains. Grace is dead. This is what you've done. There's not even a full body left. Because of you, she was tortured alive for 3 days. Ethan, his eyes red with rage, picked up the scalpel from the table and plunged it with a sickening sound into Tiffany's heart. Quick, save her. His colleagues, who had rushed over, were in a frenzy. Ethan stabbed her several more times. Watching her take her last breath, he turned and knelt before me. Wife, I know you resent me, but I've avenged you. When we meet again, please don't ignore me, you, me, and our baby. Let's be a family again in the next life. He raised the knife and plunged it into his own abdomen without hesitation. He said he wanted to avenge me. Kyle was sentenced to death, and Tiffany was dead. The only person left for him to deal with was himself. I'm sorry, I wasn't that brave. Ethan, barely clinging to life, gave a bitter smile. How I wish it was me who was tortured. So you and our baby could have lived well, wife. Please forgive me. He struggled to get up, picked up the wedding ring from the metal tray, and carefully slipped it onto his finger. It's too late. The coroner shook his head. Prepare for the funeral. Ethan, clutching the ring, took his last breath. Before he died, he repeatedly begged for my forgiveness, but I no longer cared about him.